welcome to the May 21st public meeting of the Upper McCountry Planning Commission. Would you please join me in pledge of the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Everybody got a chance to look at the minutes? Any comments? No.
I've looked at the minutes and I would recommend a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the minutes from April 16th of 2025. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconds is noted. All. Should we vote? Aye. All ayes. Thank you. All right. Do we have any? We don't have any additions or deletions.
No, there are no additions or deletions to the agenda.
Good. So we'll get right into the MPC timeline is good.
Yes, everything is up to date.
Okay. That's good too. All right. Well, I guess we'll get right to docket 2368. It'd be 617 North Crocs mixed use.
No, that's the minutes.
That's the wrong one. Oh, sorry. I'm looking at the last one. It'd be docket 2363 Eastern Lift Truck Building Addition Preliminary Final Development 7050 Snowdrift Road.
All right. This project involves the expansion of the existing facility by an additional 29,800 square feet and includes the removal of an existing pole building, associated parking upgrades, new sidewalks, and stormwater management facilities. With this application, the applicant has submitted a modification request letter identifying 2 deferrals and 8 waivers from sections of the SALDO. In terms of the comprehensive plan review, the property is in the Township's Light Industrial Park zoning district, and it is depicted on the 2019 comprehensive plan as industrial. So the principal use matches. It's a flag lot along Tillman Street, or it has access to Tillman Street, which is a major arterial road via Snowdrift Road. It is a flag lot, so the access is limited. In terms of the pedestrian and bicycle access, because it is a flag lot and the property abuts I-78, which is a limited access highway. The only opportunity to provide any type of pedestrian connection exists at Snowdrift Road, which is the cul-de-sac, and the property only fronts that road with about 50 feet. So one of the deferrals is for sidewalks because of the limited amount of sidewalk here. That's all I have, except that the township staff and consultants recommend that the Planning Commission recommend approval of the preliminary final plan with some comments about the waivers and deferrals that the applicant can present and we can comment on.
Okay, thank you. Does the applicant like to come forward? State your name, please.
Good evening. I am Joshua George with Landworks Civil Design. I was here, I think it was January before you, and we talked about this plan a few months ago. We're back. We've made some revisions to the plan based upon the comments from the last Planning Commission meeting. And as Meredith said, we are seeking your recommendation for approval of this preliminary final plan. We have those 8 waivers. We did spend some time back in the January meeting talking about those. I'm happy to go through them again if you'd like, or we can kind of condense them, whatever you prefer to do. We have the 2 additional deferrals for a total of 10 different waivers and deferrals. Meredith did a nice job summarizing the project. I think you're familiar with it from seeing it in January. So with that said, what's the board's pleasure in terms of going through the different waivers and the deferral requests?
Well, the ones that the township engineer and staff have kind of marked for approval, I don't have a problem sort of skirting those, but I sort of the ones that are kind of approval and modification, that if you could hit on the highlights of that so we could at least get an idea
Absolutely. So those are numbers 5, 6, and 7 are the first three that have the notice, the note of approval and modification. Those are all related to landscaping on the property and the placement of trees and shrubs. We had talked at the meeting in January about the potential for providing either a fee in lieu of landscaping or perhaps providing trees to be planted at one of the township's parks or other public facilities. The primary reason is, as you heard from Meredith, this lot is completely boxed in, I-78 on one side, utility easements on another, existing fire hydrant and access on the other side, and then all connected to a flag lot out to Sodridge Road. So we are physically incapable of providing the required landscaping here. We are happy to work with Anderson and the team to add a couple of more trees, which is essentially what her comment letter says.
Yeah.
She's like, pretty much, if I can summarize this, it says it's pretty good, but we want you to add a couple more trees. We're good with that.
That's accurate, yeah.
No objection whatsoever. And so if it would be the board's pleasure, we'd be happy to work with Anderson after the meeting and get a couple more trees added to get her satisfied with the tree placement of those trees and shrubs. We are providing several on the plan already, but I think we're talking about adding maybe 2, 3, or 4 more, something like that, in a couple of spots. So those are numbers 5, 6, and 7 all put together in a nutshell.
I'd also like to add on those, just to clarify to the planning commission, that what we would recommend is beyond them working with us to address the however many they can fit on site, we'd recommend that any excess trees that cannot be fit on site, that's what would get the fee in lieu of.
That's fine.
Okay.
And we're agreeable to that.
Good. Thank you.
Okay, number 8 is related to stormwater management, as is the number 8 is related to stormwater management. This is a pretty technical waiver request. We are proposing an underground stormwater management facility in the parking area that's being renovated as part of this project. There is no stormwater management now as part of the property. The ordinance requires that we provide not only management of the new impervious, but 30% of the existing impervious needs to be accounted for as well. Long story short, we're providing the facility in the greatest degree possible, but there is a provision in the ordinance that talks about an emergency spillway and the depth of flow over that spillway. We really can't meet that with this underground facility. So what we've done is we've maximized the facility to the greatest degree possible. And Anderson, I think you would agree that we're at a point where we can't really do much more to it at this point. So the waiver and the deferral become necessary simply because of the physical constraints of the property and the elevations that we need to work with. All of this drains to an existing swale that runs parallel to I-78. And the bottom of that swale is our limiting factor. And then the top floor elevation of the existing building is also our limiting factor. So between the bottom of the swale over here and the floor elevation of the existing building up here, we have that delta to work with on the elevations. So we've maximized the footprint of the facility to the greatest degree possible. We've made it as deep as we can make it, and we're sort of hamstrung after that. So that's the essence of that particular modification. Okay.
I would just say that, yeah, we were in communication prior to this meeting and discussed some alternatives to maximize that spillway to meet the requirements as best as possible. And from what you've communicated, you're willing to work with us to come to an agreeable solution. And I think you're just about there.
Yeah, we're talking about inches at this point.
Yeah.
We're not talking about feet.
So they won't be able to meet the requirement for flow through the spillway or freeboard below from the spillway elevation to the water surface elevation. So it's the 2-part waiver, but all encompassed within one section.
And the dimensions are all quantified on the plan somewhere in there?
All the elevations, yes, and then in the stormwater management or PCSM report, all of the water surface elevations are in there.
Just curious, having watched an underground basin be constructed over an Oakview Road this past month and a half, where do you plan to move everybody, the car, trucks, and everything? Are you just off-site
During the construction process?
Yeah,
so
because it's quite intensive, you know.
Well, yes, I can speak to that. I'm Luke, and this is Jeff.
You want to come up to the
Well,
mic, please?
So where the addition is right now, currently there's a pole building there. That'll be deconstructed before. We have somebody that's going to tear that down, and there's a huge parking lot back there. We're moving a lot of our outside storage equipment to an offsite space that we're leasing. We've already started doing that, hopefully preparing for construction later this summer. So we'll have a lot of parking space out back. So everybody will park out back till the front is done. Once the front is done, then people can move back up.
Yeah, my only concern was there's not going to be any impedance on the road itself for traffic coming through there.
Yeah.
Good, thank you.
This is very similar to something that we did in York at their location in York. They had almost the identical situation. The existing facility, we added an addition to it, created some additional parking. And they did exactly the same thing. They moved a lot of their equipment off site temporarily and then were able to get everybody situated during construction. And then the last item that was on the approval and modification was related to the sidewalk that would potentially connect Snowdrift Road to the building, so along the panhandle of the property. Here again, there's no sidewalk out on Snowdrift. It's not in the township's plans to require it on Snowdrift on the south side. So we've asked for a deferral to allow us to not construct that sidewalk at this point in time. Should it ever be needed in the future, or there be a time at which the township would require it, we would provide it at that point in time. That was originally a waiver, and we changed it to a deferral. So last time when we talked, it was a waiver, now it's a deferral. And that's it for those particular items. Everything else is recommended for approval by your township staff.
Okay, well, thank you.
What about your modification on deferral two?
For this is the
Stormwater?
connection, yes, okay. So basically, we're in agreement. We think that the deferral is appropriate, that this would be installed at the same time that sidewalk along the right-of-way would be installed. As for the stormwater, there's two options. We believe that it does need to be managed at some point, whether it be currently with this plan or at a later date when they would propose the installation. I know that it's a linear improvement, so those solutions may be more difficult than just addressing it at this current moment, but I think it's up to the applicant to decide which.
Pick your poison.
Yeah, I mean, I think the PC would be fine with either, as long as it's addressed at some point. That's how we feel about it.
Okay.
It is a tough one to handle because, as Anderson said, it's a linear improvement along that flagpole portion of the lot. There's really not any good place to put stormwater right there. So one potential solution would be to use impervious material at some point in the future.
Or the sidewalk.
Yeah, since we don't have any idea when or if this will ever happen, we'd really not rather provide management now for something that frankly may never happen. So.
Okay.
Okay, so that addresses that. I guess we should make a,
Questions with regards to zoning and then the fire letter. Zoning's talking about lighting. Has that been resolved?
No, but according to zoning, it's not a major issue. It's more of a drafting issue that they can address it on the plan.
Okay, should we make a comment about that?
I think you should condition it based on the comments in the zoning letter, if you recommend
Okay.
approval.
well, this,
Do that the whole time.
since this backs up against 78 Route 22, there won't be any lighting that reflects back into.
No, we're talking
Roadway.
about lights in the parking area, and we're talking about potentially lights on the building itself, and then potentially lights along the flagpole portion of the lot as well. What we'd like to do is to provide them in the parking areas and along that front side and what would be the east side of the building, so that everything is well illuminated for folks coming in and out in the early morning or the evening hours. We don't have any intention of doing anything except the required security lighting on the back side on the I-17 side.
And then as far as the turning template, seems like there's a question on that one.
Yeah, we had provided several turning templates in the package that was submitted. This is an additional request. We did provide this particular template showing a tractor trailer can make the move. The fire chief wanted us to show that the fire truck can also make that exact same movement as a tractor trailer. We're very confident that it can. We just didn't know it was something he was looking for. So we'll be happy to add it. It's no problem at all.
So we don't have any problem with that.
So I spoke to the fire commissioner about that comment specifically, and he said that because the property is landlocked and it's a difficult site, that if they do use the correct turning template with the fire truck, that he doesn't see any change to the plan because of the conditions of the site.
Okay, thank you.
Tractor trailer is a good bit longer than the fire truck.
Yes, it is.
So and it does work for the tractor trailer, so that's why I'm confident it'll work for the fire truck as well.
All right, good, thank you. All right. So, make some comment. Anybody, any other additional comments from the planning commission? I think we're good. I guess we have to look at the approval of waivers.
All right, I'm going to make a motion to start with deferrals, approve deferral 1 on docket number 2363. And do these as 4 different groups. That's the first one.
Okay, we'll do that. First one.
So the deferral 1, looking to approve it, to grant the deferral for the sidewalks along the cul-de-sac.
Oh, you're doing the deferral.
Yep, the deferral.
Oh, you're deferring, okay.
I'll second that.
You second that? Okay. All say. Approved?
Aye.
Aye. That's approved.
With regards to deferral number 2, we'll look to approve that with modification based on what is commented in the letter by staff. With regards to stormwater management in the future and or how you mentioned the pervious sidewalk. So, motion number 2 to recommend that with approval, or modification, I should say.
Oh, we have a motion. Any other comment? Do we hear any ayes or nays? Aye. No nays.
With regards to the waivers, I'm going to make a motion for approval of waiver 1, 2, 3, and 4, as stated.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. All right, do we have a vote?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
And the last motion with regards to waivers and deferrals will be waivers with approval with modification to them based on the comments in the letter, would be for waivers 5, 6, 7, and 8. And these are approved for modification that is noted in the letter by staff.
All right.
Second?
Yeah, the motion's been made. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, second. Thank you. Let's say aye.
Aye.
All right, that takes care of those. And I guess we just gotta go back to,
Lastly, I'll make a motion recommending approval of preliminary final land development plan for project 2363 Timber Truck Building Addition. Conditioned upon the letters from staff and consultants dated May 15th and April 29th.
And I will second that.
we got a second? Got a vote?
Question? You got that puzzled look on your face.
There's 3 approval letters. I don't know if you mentioned all 3. There's the May 15, April 29, and April 28. Just want to make sure we capture all 3 of them.
And the recommendation I have May 15th and April 29th. Is there another one? Okay. I'll amend my motion to include the letter by fire commissioner.
We don't want to leave the fire chief out.
I will second that.
All right.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Sorry, who seconded that?
What's up?
Who seconded that? Okay, thank you.
Okay, the next thing we have on the agenda is the request for PC comment on future sanitary sewer flows.
Good evening, everyone.
Welcome, Bob.
Thank you. Bob Ibach, Township Manager. I'm here representing the township and in part LCA, the County Authority. I did give you an information packet, a handout tonight. That's just giving you the general background of the Regional 537 plan that LCA is the lead on, with all 15 municipalities being a part of it. We all flow to the Klein's Island treatment plant. The biggest part of this 537 plan is reduction of I&I in the system. So each individual municipality and authorities will handle their own little projects. For tonight, what we've done is all the municipalities have gotten together and provided flow projections for DEP to consider for future growth in the area and the impact on the Klein's Island treatment plant. That can trigger a whole lot of different other actions that we have to wait and see on that. So what the township did, when this went through the planning process, Keystone Consulting Engineers was our engineering firm. Tim Miller was our utilities engineer. He went through all the open properties along with myself based on the zoning district that they were in and made some assumptions. So the chart I gave you I want to make it clear. Yeah, we'll do that one. This big one. So if you see a use there, that is an assumed use. The property owner has not approached us. We have no idea that there's a plan in the works for that. They were just, I'm going to call it a back of the napkin guess on what it could be. That guess could be high, that guess could be low. But we're trying to get some type of baseline and some type of planning for the future. For the purposes of the 537 plan, each planning commission in the plan gets an opportunity to look at these projections and provide any comments they might have. There's no obligation to make comments, but you certainly can tell us you'd like to relook at something, or in general, you're in agreement that this could work.
Are there proposed additions to the future for Klein's Island already in the works?
If you look through it, there's some, I will call them conceptual plans for different treatment options, not necessarily.
So to handle those increased flows?
Yes. Now that requires a whole different set of plans, planning module, everything from DEP, Delaware River Basin Commission. I'll call that phase 3 or phase 4 of what comes out of this Act 537. I do have Steve Walsh. He is our new utilities engineer with HRG. He's also gone through this list, and in general can say it basically makes sense.
So this is all the open properties currently in the township, looking at them?
Within the current 537 boundary. There's no proposed expansion for that.
Okay.
We're holding our line where we want it.
Okay.
So that, those empty properties are within that boundary.
So as I look at this, basically by 2030, we're pretty much closed for business based on the flows are.
In theory.
Okay.
Yeah, it could take to 2050 for some
how
of
they
those properties to develop. And there was some debate about that, Tim. If you look, a lot of our numbers are front-loaded. Right now in 2030.
Yeah.
It was a decision that's the way we were going to do it as a group,
Okay.
but obviously it could go much further.
Tripped out. Okay.
So we have about 9 of them projected just for this year alone, or 26 to 2026 coming up. So it's
And you'll notice Sunset Orchards is one of them.
Yeah, I see that it'd be the
Odds
first
are,
one.
they're not gonna get even built out by the end of 20.
No, till we haven't seen them as their final plan submitted. Have they submitted their final plan?
No.
So, yeah, that may be a while, so.
Again, it's considered a planning document, but it's not something where we can take, oh, this plan's in sketch form, but this is going through preliminary. This is more guesswork, to be perfectly honest. We put some thought behind it, but
Well, this is good. This is something we can keep up front.
we will be tracking it moving forward. We'll have to.
I mean, that's always the issue is sewage and traffic. Since we don't have much control of what PennDOT does,
We have a little bit more control.
we have a lot more control of the sewage, yes. Thank you.
How close is, starting to capacity? I don't know anything about it. As far as.
It's a loaded question. Let's put it this way, right now, on paper, we're about, unless this plan gets approved, up until this plan can get approved, Upper Mac has about 240,000 gallons per day in allocation. The plant normally on a dry day is running around 32 to 34 million gallons per day. Hydraulically, I think we got rated up to 44 million gallons per day.
Okay.
Organically, it's about 42 million, which, kind of going back to what you said, Chris, about expansion at the plant. Are we expanding hydraulically, organically? There's different ways to do each, different permitting processes. Right? Problem is, on a rainy day, we go through that. There's the potential to go through that 34 million gallons per day.
Okay.
So that's why there's capacity at the plant. And if we can get our I&I under control, and instead of increasing every year, we start decreasing, there might not be a need for a really large expansion at Clines Island. We may be able to operate in the existing permit.
For my benefit, I&I.
Oh, sorry. That's inflow and infiltration. You'll see, in some of those documents, it might be listed as RD I&I. That's rain-derived inflow and infiltration.
Okay.
It's groundwater, high water table, cracked pipes. It's water seeping in through the manhole lids, and
Just getting in.
broken pipes.
What's the biggest contributor? Just groundwater?
Rainwater, surface water.
With that being said, I know in the past that the Upper Macungie has been very proactive by relining a lot of the existing sewers and the older developments. Are you still on a project schedule to do more?
Yes, we are. We're very aggressive in our program. I'll give you another acronym, Tim, SRP. It's a source removal plan. We're pretty much committed to probably about 1.25, 1.5 million a year over the next 5 years to go after. Our big thing right now is laterals. Where it leaves the house, hits the main. That's where we're finding issues, especially at the plumber's connection. You know what that is.
Okay.
Yeah. Working with LCA on the joint bid this year. HRG's putting out, that's for grouting, just kind of shoot some, I don't want to call it cock, but make sure that.
Are you still doing the, I guess, surveys of the houses with sump pumps that are?
We're working heavily in the Oakland Park area. We have issues in there, so we've been doing
Yeah,
surveys, basement
there's-
inspections.
there's a couple of streets there that are very flat and wet. And I know on my street, when they came up, they said, I'd like to see your sump pump. I said, I have a bi-level. If you could find a sump pump, good luck. So, yeah, but a lot of those houses do have basements,
Mhm.
having been in a lot of them. So, yes.
We've been on-site.
Well, if you look up on Cottonwood, across the street, you know, where the park begins, there are cattails there, because that was actually wetlands.
Mhm.
So, and it is flat and it is wet, so that's good that that takes place, so. Any other questions for Bob? Well, thank you. This is something to keep my police, make sure that so these things come in here, we're aware, be able to address this in the meeting. So,
There you go. I appreciate your time.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We have no other issues on tonight's agenda. Are we good? We could make a motion to,
Public comment.
What's that?
Public comment.
Motion for, any public comment?
any public comments? I'm sorry. No, we're good. All right. Thank you. We make a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All right. Good night. That wasn't a record, but it's